What is going on, guys? We're going to take a look at the most recent REA auction. I believe this was the Encore, and it just ended last weekend. So with that being said, I want to go over some of the rules of the video. Buyer's premium is 20%. It's included in the price. Taxes and shipping are not included. Can't 100% confirm if a buyer has paid for a card. And I only showed cards, although in some of the honorable mentions, I'm starting to throw additional items. So if you guys do like that format, please let me know. I'll continue on it with other videos. So first, we have a T206 Walter Johnson. This is the most popular Walter Johnson pose in the T206 set. This 3 sold for $5,520. Pretty strong looking copy over here. Up next, a 1921 W51621 Ty Cobb. Most of these achieve an A because they are strip cards. And this is the second highest graded. There is 1 out there. This one sold for $5,640. What I will say is if there are other sheets that aren't cut, which I assume there's a few out there, there still could be some that get higher grades. So just be wary of that because you can technically cut these cards whenever and send them into grading. 1986 Topps Traded Barry Bonds Tiffany. Considered the best Barry Bonds rookie card out there. Tiffany were limited card edition sets, which were started to be issued in 1984. And it went through the 90s. There's even Tiffany sets still produced in the 2000s. Regardless, this 10 sold for $6,000. I'm curious if this gets a bump if Bonds makes the Hall of Fame and how much. Rube Marquardt over here. He's a Hall of Fame pitcher, but what I find interesting, and I didn't know this until looking into his Wikipedia page, and I sometimes think these fun facts are awesome for these videos. He was arrested for ticket scalping in the 1920 World Series. Now, people scalp concert tickets and tickets for events all the time, and it's annoying. But Marquardt, he was an original at it, man, over 100 years ago. And this 7 sold for $6,000. The honorable mention side, we're going to go over our Marquardt that is signed from T206. But we'll go into that a little bit later. REA Demet, I think that's how you pronounce it. This is a St. Louis variation, which are only found in polar bear backs. So you can see down below, it says St. Louis American, and very tough to find these. In fact, this one sold for $6,300. 1952 Star Decals of Mickey Mansell. You know, it's amazing. This card / decal is much tougher to find than like a 52 Mansell or a Bowman. And, this authentic only sold for $6,600. There's 2 different types of these 52 star decals. There's a type 1, which is 1 player, and there's a type 2, which is 2 players. But later you'll see a Campy and Jackie in this list. 1949 Leaf Larry Doby. A short print in the set. Doby appeared in the major leagues 11 weeks after Jackie Robinson. Another $6,600 one on this. Jake Beckley, Hall of Famer. He played from 1888 to 1907. So he does have old Judge cards, and this one sold for $7,200. There's very few players that are in both of those iconic sets. 1986 Fleer Basketball Complete set. The Jordan here was graded a 5. It's considered mid a high grade complete set. You can see what these look like over here. Pretty sharp overall. This one sold for $7,800. The Maggie Air, considered the 4th best card in the T206 set. You can see it says MAGIE when it should be MAGEE. This has been altered, which I assume is just cut in some of these corners. It doesn't look supernatural, but this one sold for $8,400. And you can also see a little bit on the edge, little waviness. It could be there too, but I think there's a little bit of cutting there. Could be wrong. 1951 Bowman Mantle, nothing too spectacular. I mean, these cards sell all the time. $9,000. 1955 Maze in a PSA 8, 138 PSA 8s, 13 PSA 9s, so sold for $9,600. 1968 Mantle, there's 81 of these copies that are signed at PSA. This sold for $10,200. Up next at T206 Cobb, this is a factory 42. So a lot of people will see a sweet cap roll and think, oh, they're junk, but the factory 42 are quite scarce. In fact, check this out. So This is a resource that was generated by Jay Kaplan. He's an expert on T206 cards. I actually got it sent not by Jay, but by someone else, that I should be putting these in my videos because they're much more accurate than the list I was using. So I'm going to use this list. If you guys think there's better lists out there, let me know. But regardless, I want to have a more accurate representation of T206 cards. So you can see the Piedmont 460 Factory 42 is in this 9 spot. It's tougher than a Cycle 460, Hindu Brown, a Cycle 350, American Beauties, Tolstoy, right? Very, very tough to find. And I think this is good to know. Up next, I did not fill a bullet point for it, but it's a Christy Mathewson Hindu Brown. I should mention how rare that was based off the list. But if we go back over here and look for Hindu Brown, it is number 11. So Hindu is very tough to find, but not as tough as this over here, Factory 42. Regardless, this 2 sold for 11.7, and this was a 4. This seems like it was a better deal because Cobb outsells, and it's a bit scarcer. But as a sweet cap roll, most people don't know that. All right, let's jump into some honorable mentions. So, as I mentioned, well, not with this card, but I'm going to be covering some other items that were not cards in the auction. But so be aware of that. But up first, N60 Alan Ginter. I want to say this is Hanlon. I have no idea who this is. Yeah, I got some information from the Met, issued 1887 to promote Little Beauties SIGs distributed by Alan and Ginter. This sold for $390. This is a really cool set. I got to do a little bit of research on it. I may actually talk about this in our non-sports Facebook group. So if you guys want to join that group, 100% for free, bunch of collectors in there, people way more knowledgeable about non-sports than I am, especially some of these foreign issues and tougher stuff from the 1800s. So buy, sell, trade, do whatever you want, man. It's a fun group, and the link is going to be down below in the description and comment section. So make sure to join that if you want to learn more about non-sports cards. All right, 1951 Bowman 1 cent wrapper. This sold for $420. Up next, we have a Campy Jackie Robinson. This is the Type 2 I was talking about. This is really sweet. And sold price on this was $540, which seems so cheap, especially the caliber of both these players together. New York Yankees ticket that has the Aaron Judge debut and first home run. This sold for $600. Dual autograph of Mays and Duke Snyder. What's interesting, though, it says, please note that while the Mays ballpoint signature is legitimate, the second signature of Mays in a blue marker is not a valid example. You can see that signature back over there. I wonder if that's the reason why this card is not slabbed, and this sold for $660. Marquard signed. This seems cheap to me. I mean, he must have signed a lot of stuff, but $660 for this T206. I know the T206 isn't the best shape on this one, but still, it's an early T206 that's signed. I think it's awesome. This is 1888 SF Hess Jack Dempsey. A lot of people get confused on Dempsey because there's 2 Jack Dempseys that are boxers and both were good. This is the 1800s Jack Dempsey, which the 1920s was named after. This set also, by the way, has non-sports historical figures. I have a Thomas Edison, and they're very, very tough to find. The non-sports, the boxers, they're tough, but you can still find them. And this card sold for $900. Up next, we have a Philadelphia League team card. This is one of the 4 different teams that were in this set. I do want to say that Orlando, a collector's dream, I believe, picked up the one that was of Chicago in this. I recently saw in a video. This one sold for $25.20. 1934 Gaudy Dizzy Dean. This got the MK qualifier because someone wrote 100 on the back of the card, which makes me think this was sold at an old card show. And as crazy as it sounds, back in the day, people used to write, and even today, would write prices on the back of the card in pencil. A lot of people hate this, but that is a common thing you'll see overseas. This one sold for $26.40. There's only 7 of these graded. This is a T206 white border collection. 94 cards, 3 of them being Hall of Famers, 1's a Southern Leaguer. About $42 a card. This lot sold for $39.60. 1954 Bowman Doug Atkins rookie card. He's in both the Pro and College Football Hall of Fame, And he was also drafted in the NBA in 1953. And this 9 sold for 4,440. Bill O'Hara, another St. Louis variation. There's a few in this auction. This sold for 55.20. This is a pretty unique piece. Christy Walsh and Babe Ruth. Christy Walsh was considered the first sports agent in baseball and was Ruth's agent. And this sold for $8,400. Not sure how many people want his autograph, but it's an interesting piece of history. And lastly, this is the image of the Sinella Ruth. The Sinella Ruth was issued in Germany. There's 4 different types that you can find. It's a great entry-level Ruth card, in my opinion. And man, I love this photo. It looks awesome. All right, let's jump into our top 10. So up first, a duel of Cobb and Hannes Wagner. What's really interesting is another PSA 1 sold at Hakes for $6,500. This one sold for $12,600. I don't remember what that one looked like. I thought it was decent though. CJ Stroud snakeskin. I'll be honest with you guys, I don't know much about modern football cards. I just know snakeskins are like super short prints. $15,000. Man, this is that's a big gamble. 1959 Bob Gibson rookie card. There's 32 PSA 9s and 3 10s, 8 5s sold in 2021, 2022 for about $14K. So you're looking at this at $18,600. Now, an Otani 2018. Not a lot of people love the Topps high tech cards. I think they're okay. This one's numbered to 40. This is considered the highest BGS grade, although it looks like this autograph is not faded, but not the best. I don't know how that got a 10. And this is my own personal opinion. I'm obviously not a grader. This sold for $22,800. 1949 Leaf Satchel Page. And I seem like I'm roasting the grading, but I don't know if that should have gotten a 2. I've seen a lot of cards that are kind of like off-centered, really bad or miscut. Typically, SGC gives them a 1.5. But this card's short printed. It's still an amazing card, even short printed, or even in this condition. And $25,000. It also looks like the printing plates weren't lined up correctly. Yeah, so in my opinion, I would have given this a 1.5 if I was a grader. 1950 Yogi Berra. This is his 3rd Bowman card. There's 2 PSA 9s, no 10s. I want to say 3 PSA 9s, if I remember correctly from doing my research, not 2, but there's no 10s out there. 1952 Willie Mays. There's 102 PSA 7s. This one sold for $33,600. E103 in the 3rd spot of Ty Cobb. Total pop of 24 at PSA. The highest graded is the PSA 5. There's 3 PSA 4s, if I remember correctly, and this sold for $40,800. A 1907 Wolverine News Cobb. There's also another Cobb in the set where it has him in batting pose. The batting authentic last year did $18K at REA, but again, that's an authentic, not a 3. And the top spot, 1952 Jackie Robinson, and it was next to the Mickey Mantle in the sheet that was cut, and this one sold for $75,000. Thanks guys for checking out this video. If you want to check out the last REA recap, I'm going to have it on the screen right now. And thank you to our channel members listed down below if you want to help support the channel. Make sure to join as a channel member. But if not, and you're new to these videos, make sure to subscribe to check out more of these auction recaps, eBay top sales, card shows, and much more. All right, I'll see you guys in another video.